Hi, everybody. Matt Croyle, Film Festival Director of the Oil Valley Film Festival. This is year 8, and we are doing what I like to do every year with artists: is sit down with them and discuss things and have fun and talk about creativity. And I am very privileged to have with me today Sarah Booth. Sarah is an actor, Canadian actor, and she is currently on Three Pines on Prime. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Things are really, really awesome. I appreciate you sitting down, taking the time today. Let's just start out really quickly. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself. You have been on screen at the Oil Valley Film Festival multiple times.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm honored.
Thank you. Thank you. We're honored to have you. Um, Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? What kind of definitive, like, early kind of production were you exposed to, maybe as you decided to pursue this as a career?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Canada, just an hour south of Montreal, and I really didn't grow up in what you would call, an artistic family. I grew up on a very small hobby farm, surrounded with all my animal friends, and didn't even know acting or, film was a possibility or a job or a career.
Right.
But when I was, growing up and doing all my activities, there was an amazing dance school in my hometown, and I was exposed to the stage through that. So,
That's
uh,
fantastic.
yeah, through ballet, I was always
Yeah.
cast as in the Nutcracker. I was cast as Fritz, so like the little boy that ruins Christmas. So I got a lot of like character roles through dance, and that's when I kind of discovered, ooh, I love, like it's really as basic as I will do something on stage and people will react, and that feels cool. Like it feels powerful when you're like 8 years old. So I think that's where I first kind of felt that feeling that probably just started growing and growing. And then as I went into high school and we got a dance and theater program added to my high school in my last 2 years that I was
Hmm.
there, and I was exposed to like theater, and
Yeah.
that was the game changer. I looked into post secondary education and figured out that there was an amazing theater school in Montreal. So that kind of started, that big snowball right there. But I would have to say my first taste of it was when I was just a wee little candy cane.
That's so wonderful.
Nutcracker.
That's so wonderful. You're not the first person to tell me that dance led them into other areas of artistic expression.
Mhm.
I don't think maybe dance gets enough credit anymore, and it's very unfortunate thing because it's such a beautiful art form.
It,
Um,
it's expensive.
it
I
really is
think a
expensive. It's
lot.
like playing hockey growing up.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
exactly.
yeah. So what was your first role? Do you remember what your first role was, and how did you actually feel about going out and performing in that first time?
Yeah, so my first, I would guess, like professional acting
Sure.
role
Yeah.
for television was actually on this show called Blue Mountain State. I don't know if you've ever heard
I
of it.
have heard of it. Yes.
Yeah, so it
Now I'm
shot.
gonna have to go back and like find you in it just to see.
Well, it's actually very funny. I just got an agent, and this show was in town, and they were obviously seeking, so many people to fill in these, college or university roles. And I auditioned for this role that was basically uh, a girl giving like a candlelit vigil for a goat, like our goat mascot at university
Yes.
that
Yes.
got stolen during this episode. And I have a very short blonde pixie cut, braces, and a retainer, and a very strong lisp in this role. So it's kind of comedic. Honestly, I watch it now, and what's so funny is after that, I kind of naturally gravitated towards darker roles in my career
Yeah.
and really went into like action and it's funny that the role that is kind of giving me the most exposure kind of comes back to that like funny comedy where
Yeah.
a lot of people say, oh, that's like your true essence, because a lot of people meet me and they're like, oh, you're so friendly and kind, because they'll meet my characters first on screen. So it like playing this role on Three Pines reminded me like, oh wow, yeah, like I really did start with like those quirky funny roles, um, that I guess I just really connected to when I
Yeah.
started my career. So that was my first role, and I will never forget it. It was wonderful and terrifying.
So do you gravitate more, do you think now as an actor you would gravitate more towards um challenging yourself and doing things maybe that you haven't done before, or do you like feeling comfortable in something that maybe you like, because a lot of times people will stay, and do what they know,
Yeah.
but the stuff that I've seen you in lends itself to maybe you pushing yourself towards things that you don't find comfortable with.
100%. I
Okay.
feel like when I get hired on bigger projects,
Yeah.
I definitely get hired for things that they've seen before, that
Sure.
feel maybe safer for the hire,
Mm-hmm.
not for me. But when I create projects with my peers, and especially with my husband Gavin, who's a
Yes.
filmmaker, I get to play those challenging roles. I get to play those scary roles because essentially I cast myself, or Gavin casts me in the
Right.
project. So I'm able to take so many more risks on personal projects, and then turn around and show bigger producers, casting directors, bigger directors, I can do this. So I feel like that's a really good advantage of, having someone that I can collaborate with, and that we can challenge each other in our projects. So I don't think I would be necessarily happy or fulfilled if I was always like, okay, Sarah, this is what you're going to play.
Right.
Copy paste, copy paste. I think that would be kind of boring. But
Right.
it's a career, so if you're getting the jobs, you got to take them. But I'm very lucky that I do have, the avenue that I can create my own work as well.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. You'd mentioned your husband, Gavin, who I've been friends with online for like the longest time. Um, can you talk a little bit about your creative relationship with him outside of, him being your husband on a daily basis? But just like, you know, how did that relationship develop creatively? And what are the great things that you get out of having somebody around you all the time that is a creative like yourself?
Well, what's great about having a creative with you, and holding your hand through life, is that they understand this business, and that as much as you put in, sometimes you got to wait a few years until it comes back. It's hard to explain the aspects of this business to someone who doesn't completely understand it.
Right.
And I understand that as well. For people who aren't in this business, it's very, very chaotic and doesn't make sense. But to have someone that has experienced it means everything, because at the end of the day, most of the time, if you don't book a role, or he doesn't book a job as a director or producer, it most of the time it's not about your talent. There's so many other aspects
Yeah.
involved in that, and it's nice to have someone that can understand that and empathize with that. But our creative relationship started about 10 years ago. We got married very quickly and decided and knew that we wanted to make projects together.
Yeah.
So we decided to make a short film
Oh,
first,
pardon me.
because we said, before we jump into a feature and get divorced, let's do a short and make sure we can do this, because obviously a marriage is more important than a
Right.
creative relationship.
Right.
So we did a short together, and it went off so well. We I think, don't tell Gavin, but I think we get along better when we work together. We just like have that goal, and we
Yeah.
are problem solvers together. We love to create. We secretly love the chaos, and being on set with him is, I'm so spoiled because he knows my shorthand. He can just
Yeah.
look at me and know what's going on. I can throw out ideas that I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable throwing out on my first day on a set with a director that I don't really know. So I feel like there's just that creative freedom to fail and try things. and we really respect each other's choices. And when he's directing, at the end of the day, he's the director, and I know that. And if he doesn't think it's a good idea, then that's okay. We move on, or he lets me try it my way. Yeah, so we just really respect each other creatively, and we really take our visions seriously,
That's
which is
fantastic. Yeah,
yeah.
that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so your favorite role you ever done? Do you
Oh,
have one specific that kind of tops everything else? Maybe not just, how do I want to put this? I guess one that you got the most out of personally. I guess maybe that would be the best way to put that. I don't know.
I think so. Personally, as an actor, I
Yeah.
think the role that challenged me the most and that I got the most out of in knowing my own toolbox, I guess I could say, the best was Last Call, because I had to really rely on myself as an actor, and because once they called action, that's it. Like, action for the next 78 minutes. So
That's so challenging. I'm so just blown away. I was blown away by that movie, and I'm glad that we got to actually show it to audiences here, which was
it's a
fantastic.
special
You were
time.
phenomenal in that, by the way.
You. Thank you. But like, I grew so much as an actor. I grew so much as gosh, just like trust in myself, that you can't think too far ahead in the
Right.
process. Very much like theater. You just got to start the show and then ride the wave.
Yeah, and I think when we think about film, a lot of times we, working in it, we understand that, okay, here's a take, and it might be 10 seconds, it might be a minute and a half or 3 minutes at most. And then all of a sudden you're put in this role to where you go and it's forcing you to stay in that moment the entire film. Because for those of you who don't know the movie, it's shot in one continuous take from two different locations
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yes.
And if you've not seen it, you definitely should see it, because not only is it hard to do as a filmmaker, it's extremely difficult to do as an actor and stay in that moment for the length of a feature film.
100%. And if people haven't seen it, it's free on YouTube right now
Oh,
on
there you go.
Movie
Excellent.
Central, their I guess channel.
There
It's
we go.
check it out
We'll
there.
plug a little Last Call.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes, but I feel
go
like in
ahead.
a way I had to separate my brain when I was doing that movie, because you have to stay in the moment, but you also have to like problem solve as you're acting,
Sure. Oh
because
yeah.
problems are happening and you're aware that problems are happening, but the problems are big enough that you're going to yell cut. We don't want that.
Right,
So
because I mean,
yeah,
with the budget, you can't really shut down the city.
no, no.
So
So
you're working
every time
around
we
the
go,
elements, you're working around, real life people just living their daily lives, and you guys are out shooting this film in the midst of all of that. It's so exciting to think about.
it was extremely exciting.
Mhm.
My heart, the sound technician said that he had to lower my microphones for the first 15 minutes because all he could hear was my heartbeat.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then like he said, usually at 15 minutes I would start to relax for him. He's like, okay, yeah. But I would have to say the role that affected me the most professionally,
Yeah.
Three Pines, of course, because it was my first marathon as an actor. I'd never been a series regular on a show.
Right, right.
So I had to learn how to not only perform this role, have an arc. We also shot the series backwards. So we had to track our arcs
Oh my
backwards.
goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Wow,
weather.
that's
So
rough.
yeah, so it was a little bit, you're like, okay, where are we at here? But I think professionally, it just taught me so much. My producers are the producers of The Crown. Like, I got to
Hmm.
play with like really fun, cool people. And again, that also gave me a lot of confidence to be like, I can do this. Like, I can play with these people. I can hold my own. So that gave me like a different, I guess, favorite role moment.
So getting to go to work every day with somebody like Alfred, um, who I just love so much. What working with him, what kind of tools did you pick up yourself, if any, from going to work every day with him and seeing how he uh looks, at his job?
Yeah.
Um, because I can't imagine. I had so much respect for the guy. I can't imagine what it would be like to sit there and just play all day with Alfred.
Right? Like, ugh. The first time I met him, I was very nervous, and the first thing I did was I gave him a can of maple syrup for some reason. I was like, "Welcome to Canada."
Like, wow,
He's like,
that's
"Okay,
so
thank."
great.
But like the next time he saw me, he was like, "So I tried it."
It's
And,
good.
yeah. um, but just learning from him, first of all, Alfred has been around for a long time. So seeing just his comfort level on set, see him own a set. It was also interesting because he's only been a number one on another TV show. He's obviously been in like, ginormous movies.
Sure.
But for him to be a number one on a TV show, you could see that like for him, he was excited, and he was excited to
Yeah.
like have his group and take care of his people. He's also an executive producer on the show. So he has probably so much more stuff to deal with that I don't even know about. But he, goes home, learns his lines. He does all the actor things that were like, you got to do it. But a
Yeah.
lot of
You
actors,
got to do the work. Yeah.
but
He
they don't
definitely,
do it. Some of them don't. And he goes home and he does it. And he executive produces. And he's like, in his late 60s.
but that's why he's him, though, like,
He's incredible. But then he comes to set and he has this energy of like this almost like this teenage boy energy, like in the best way possible, of just this playfulness and wanting to make sure everyone's happy and asking people questions about their characters. He's just super involved, super playful. And I think the main thing that I learned from him was just don't take yourself too seriously. Just come to work and have fun, because you can get lost in that. A
yeah.
show can come and go
Yes.
for many, many reasons. It can come and go, but as long as you had fun and you did good work, then you'll have a great experience, and
So
you'll.
yeah, so to pull that from working with him is pretty exceptional, in itself.
Yeah.
So what kind of God, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. Like I'm so like I was so happy for you. Like I think Gavin kind of let it slip to me a little bit like when it was happening. And I was like, well, he didn't tell me like the title or anything, but he was like, he told me about the production team and like, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be
This
really,
is
really
gonna be
fun to
big.
watch. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
super excited for you. Um, so what kind of proactive advice, I guess, maybe not specifically to actors, but creatives in general,
Yeah.
um, would you give to people that are just starting out wanting to be an actor or a director or a writer? Because a lot of times people don't know how to begin or where to go once they have an idea themselves.
I think the two biggest things, especially when you're starting out, is to not be afraid to reach out to people thinking that you're maybe not important enough, or because you're just starting your career that no one, is going to give you the time of day. I
Right.
think some of my friends who have started out in the last couple of years that have that naivete to reach out to big people, not thinking like, oh, they're going to be like, who are you? Will reach out to big people, and they will reply back.
Sure. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's a really important. If they don't, it's fine. Like they're not going to hate you, but I
Right.
think it's important to just, reach out to people. People in this business are really excited about what they're doing. And if they're not, that's okay. They won't answer you, but you probably don't want to work with those people anyways. You want to work with people that are excited about new people coming in. And the second thing I would say is, like I've had the opportunity to do, is create your own work. When I got out of theater school, I was lucky that I went to a theater school that taught us how to hang lights, how to make costumes, how to run front of house,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So the first thing I did when I graduated theater school was I got together with a few of my girlfriends and we put on a show. And you invite agents and your parents and you tell all your friends you have to come. You have no choice. Sorry, you have to come see my show. And then you kind of get that momentum going, and it
Yeah.
will lead you to the next thing. So I would say if you're kind of stuck and you don't know what to do, just make one thing and it's going to open up doors. Maybe it'll be 3 years down the line, but just keep at it.
And it totally might suck. It
It
totally might.
probably will. Like, oh
Right.
my gosh, the things that I made first out of school were, oh, probably wouldn't want to watch them. But I grew as an actor. I grew as a producer. The confidence you get, the connections, the power as an actor or a producer to call up an agent. and just it versus saying like, look at my headshot, like represent me, versus saying like, hey, I put on a show. I have a ticket for you on opening night and I would
Right.
love for you to come. Boop. You know, like that's
Sure.
it's just like it comes from a place of power, even though you're probably like shaking. I stalked my agent for I think like just over a year when I got out of theater school, because she would come to see my plays and we were doing a
Yeah.
lot of Shakespeare and classical theater. And she was like, you're great, but like, I'm not going to hire you if you're playing like a 50-year-old maid. Like, I, I want to see you do something contemporary. So
Yeah.
I stayed on her and invited her to one of my shows. And she was like, there we go. Yes, I'll take you. So persistence.
I don't think people outside of the industry understand the persistence that it takes to actually continue to even just make work.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And one thing for me as well is reading or listening to actors, like biographies, or producers or directors biographies, their books, their podcasts, just to learn about all their, failures and successes, and how they made their own way through this business, because everybody has a different story.
Yeah.
And you'll hear, the biggest stars on the planet have gotten fired or not gotten this or not gotten that. And I think just hearing those stories, makes it feel more relatable. And
Yeah, it normalizes them in a sense. And
yeah,
it just goes to, show that we're all out here just trying to make something cool that connects with people.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I love hearing about huge actors that, like for The White Lotus, Evan Peters was supposed to play Aubrey
Yeah.
Plaza's boyfriend, but the schedule didn't work out. And I'm
Right.
sure, obviously he's fine, but like, I'm sure he saw the show and was like,
Yeah.
could have
Damn, I
done that.
missed one
But
right there. Yeah.
it's like even when you're the biggest star, like there's going to be ups and downs, and roles that you don't get or that don't
Yeah.
work with your schedule. So it's just, more money, more problems, I guess.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today and discussing. And oh my goodness, please let us know like what's going on. Keep me updated. I'm really proud of the work that you're doing right now. And yeah, thank you. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Yeah. And,
Sarah Booth.
hopefully season 2, hopefully we'll find out soon.
All right, Sarah Booth, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.